Cancer, welcome to your weekly tarot reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements because you could have messages there. All right, my friends, let's get started. Let's see, what's the current energy around Cancer for the week ahead? Four of Wands. Wow, I love that for your current energy. That's wonderful. I feel like you're crossing a finish line here. You're stepping into something that's going to bring in some great rewards on an inner level. You're going to feel like you crossed a finish line into something that you've been awaiting, Cancer. It feels like it's happening, you know, like whatever that thing is that you've been waiting for or focused on, it's like you're about to cross that finish line. I'm sort of getting this excited feeling of being in a race, actually, and pushing through that last mile where it's so hard. You've been running and running and running and you're exhausted, but you know, you've also got that runner's high where you know you're going to cross that finish line, and then you see it. You know, you see it in the distance. There's the finish line. There's the crowd cheering you on. But, you know, the interesting thing is there is no crowd in this card. The thing cheering you on, it's you. You're cheering yourself on, because this is like a personal finish line. There's no one at the finish line but you. You know, you're crossing this personal finish line, and it feels very personal in nature. It feels like it's something that would bring in a sense of inner reward for you in a really strong, meaningful way. Very meaningful on a personal level. Let's see what the obstacle is here for you. Judgment in reverse. So that is one heck of an obstacle. The Judgment card in reverse can be a time where we're really denying something. And so it's almost like you cross that finish line once you stop denying something to yourself. And what could you be denying to yourself, you might be asking? Well, you know, when we see the Judgment card in reverse, it's often an indication that we've sort of come into this realization about something, but we have self-doubt, we're wearing a mask, we're denying what we've come into realize, and we're not being authentic. So we're denying something true about ourselves. And I often think that the self-realization has happened, but we're in denial of it. Because when the Judgment card is upright, we often are in acceptance of that, so that self-realization, and we're sort of awakened and we see our new path ahead. And we accept it and we're moving towards it. But when I see the Judgment card in reverse, I can't help but think that we've had the realization, but we're in denial of it. Or we doubt it. We have fear around it, or self-doubt. We have limited perception when it comes to our own abilities. And that's blocking you crossing this personal finish line that we talked about in the Four of Wands. So it's very interesting, actually. The energy coming through for you makes me feel like you're the only thing standing in the way of you crossing this personal finish line, and that you can get out of your way by sort of realizing and accepting your full power and your full sense of this realization about yourself and what you're capable of and what your potential is. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. Seeing the Empress on the bottom of the deck, which tells me that you are creating your own path. So you can create your path by crossing this finish line, or you can create your path by standing still, sort of in denial of your true potential and doubting yourself. So it's all on you right now, Cancer. It depends on what you perceive of your own sort of moment of awakening, to be honest. Like, this realization is a personal one. This is about you. So will you stand in your own way, or will you realize who you are and cross that finish line into this new pathway that I feel like you're building for yourself? Let's see what's on the surface here. The Page of Swords. Yeah, so this is often a time where I feel like saying, are we being all talk and no action, or are we actually doing something with the ideas that we have? So when the Page of Swords shows up on the surface, it makes me feel like on the surface there really is this sort of this idea, and this thirst for new knowledge and experience, right? The Page of Swords wants to learn things, wants to learn new things, wants to become a student again, and also brings in that message, right? All the pages are messengers. This page is bringing in the message that says it's time for us to learn something new about ourselves. And that is this Judgment card. So will you accept the message that comes in from the Page of Swords to say it's time to learn something new? It's time for us to go on a new adventure, not to repeat old lessons that we've already looked at 100 times. And it almost feels like the only thing standing in your way of that is you believing in yourself. This is very interesting, Cancer. Bottom of the deck is the Eight of Swords in reverse, which is that self-imposed restriction. Again, self-imposed, hear the words. This is something that you're restricting because of your perception of yourself. So by opening your perception of yourself, by realizing your full potential, I feel like you could really move into a brand new chapter here, Cancer. So very interesting. Let's see what's beneath the surface here. Okay, we got two cards. We've got the Four of Swords and the Six of Wands. So again, this is telling me that what's beneath the surface here for you, what's driving this energy, is this need to put our minds at rest, to recover from something that may have felt defeating, to recover from something that was not externally validated. So it feels like there could have been something external to you that made you sort of feel like that feeling of self-doubt, or that may have shifted you into a place where you didn't feel like something would be successful, like you wouldn't be able to do something or achieve something, and it feels to me like you may have been waiting for someone to recognize your abilities, when really all that this reading wants you to do is to recognize your own abilities. Seeing the King of Wands in reverse on the bottom of the deck makes me feel like you've come to a stop on something, that you're not moving forward towards something because you've lost that you've temporarily muted, not lost. Let me take that back. You haven't lost it. You've just temporarily muted that part of yourself that says, we got this. You put it on mute. You hit the mute button on the remote, and now you're trying to find it again. But I feel like you're looking all over the place when really it's in the remote in your hands. It's not because of that person or this person or what they said or what they did. It has nothing to do with that. All that matters is what you see when you look at yourself. And I feel like you've muted that part of yourself that recognizes your potential, and it's time to unmute it and let it cross that finish line. Let it understand who you are. Let yourself understand who you are, and run towards that finish line. You know what I mean? And put your mind at rest. I feel like your thoughts are bombarding you right now with messages that say we're not as good as, or you're comparing yourself to other people and thinking, well, they're better than I am, so why should I even bother? And it's like, it's all about what you think about yourself and how you feel about yourself, Cancer. That's what's really shining through here. Let's see what the guidance overall is. Oh, look at that. There's your guidance. Ace of Wands, upright. Taking that baton and saying, yes, I will take that baton. Thank you. I just crossed the finish line, and now I accept the baton to go running in this new direction. It's very this reading is bringing up so much imagery in my mind of literally someone running a race, but it's a race against themselves. You may think that the race is against the other runners, but there are no other runners here. It's just you and the illusion of other runners. But you almost believe the illusion too much because you're looking at those other runners and you're comparing yourself to them. Those runners aren't there. It's an illusion. You're the only one on this track running your race against yourself, and it feels to me like you could cross that finish line and realize so much about yourself, and vice versa, that if you realize so much about yourself, you could cross that finish line and see that now the universe is handing you the baton. You see the imagery? Like, it's interesting. Those relay races is what I'm seeing, but it's you and the universe. The universe is like, here, the baton. It's right here. Take it. This is my baton, and it feels like you could take it or not even recognize that it's being offered to you. Very, very interesting reading, Cancer. Let's see what the outcome here. What's the potential outcome here for Cancer? Yeah, I think that if you don't. We're seeing the Five of Cups. There's some disappointment here as an outcome in the sense of, by not realizing this, I think one day you'll look back and be like, I really should have crossed that finish line. And you may be looking at the past right now going, but. There may have been something in the past that you recognize that if you cross this finish line, that you're leaving something in the past. And there may be a part of you that wants to bring this into the next leg of the race. Cancer, I feel like you face some disappointments here. But the other thing about this card is that you might be crying over some spilt wine here. But do you even want wine anymore? Like, you might have discovered that you're more of a martini person. I'm just making this up, but like it feels like you're crying over something that spilt in the past. But does that even resonate with you anymore? Do you even want what was in these cups? Because you got two cups right here that you can fill up with whatever you want. And I feel like whatever spilled out of these cups for you, metaphorically, whatever it was that you feel was spilled and lost, might not serve you moving forward. And sometimes I think we have to trust that. If something spills, was it really for you to consume in the first place? It's an interesting question, right? Like, if it spilled, maybe that saved you from something. Maybe by spilling that chalice, you actually saved yourself something that you can't recognize right now. And I feel like that could be part of the realization. And that might be why you don't want to let go, because you're like, but I really wanted that to be successful. Whatever was in these cups, But I just keep thinking about what that baton the universe is handing you could lead to. You know what I mean? As opposed to some spilled cups. Think about it. Food for thought, Cancer. Bottom of the deck is the Fool in reverse. So, there is a new path opening for you. It's up to you if you're going to walk on it or not. Again, it's just you, right? There's no other runners in this race. It's just you. The other runners are just a reflection to show you yourself. They're not really there. They're all holding up mirrors for you to see yourself in them. And what will you do with that reflection? Will you let it inspire you and motivate you, or will you let it defeat you and stop you in your tracks? Wow, I'm getting so much imagery from this reading. It's really, really interesting how much imagery is coming through here. And it feels very much like Chariots of Fire. The music is coming into my mind where it's like, take the baton. Like, I can hear that slow piano, sort of like you moving in slow motion towards this finish line, and then you cross it, and it's like you're handed this baton from the universe that says, keep going, keep running, keep trusting. Keep going in flow instead of against it. You know what I mean? It's really powerful, actually, Cancer. You'll have to leave me some comments and let me know how this resonates for you. Okay, let's see what oracle message you'll receive. What's the highest guidance for Cancer at this time? I'm giggling. I'm giggling because it's soulmates, and I'm giggling because I feel like this card, first of all, is not just about romantic love. I want to put that out there because I think that's important to mention. This is about things that are in alignment. This is about connections that are complementary and in alignment. These are things that would not be spilled wine on the ground. This is stuff of this Ace of Wands and of this Fool and of this Judgment card. This is the stuff of things that are meant to guide us. You know what I mean? Like this Soulmates card. I mean, if you're watching this reading and you were already thinking about a relationship, then this might be a message for you to say there is something awaiting you that is more complementary than what you're hanging on to. But that message can also be said for a million other journeys. The journey that you're grieving, the journey that you're denying yourself around, the journey that you're looking and awaiting for some external verification or validation, it almost feels like there's so much ahead of that. You know, like there's, if you think that this was powerful, just wait to see what's coming up for you, Cancer. It's going to be even, it's going to pull you even strong. It's already trying to pull you. There's this idea of a strange pull that you're being guided to follow because it's leading you to something very complementary that fits you and is in alignment with you and is your next chapter. So very interesting. Bottom of the deck, I want to show you this because it just blew me away a little bit, is Truth Be Told, which is card 14, and Soulmates is card 41. So you see that mirroring? Do you see that mirroring, Cancer? Everything is mirroring you something. Everything is reflecting and mirroring back at you right now to show you the truth about your experience and where you need to go next and where you maybe need to cut ties with things that don't serve you, that you may be hanging on to because you thought, well, I really wanted that wine. But do you still want that wine? It might not serve you anymore. I'm telling you, there may be a shift here for you to consider. Oh, time for a nap. Isn't that funny? It's time to put something to rest. You see my hand knocked the cards over, and so it's interesting. It's time to put something to rest. It is time for a nap for your mind to recover and to let go, right? Very interesting. I love this reading for you, Cancer. Okay, let's see. What is an important question right now that would help guide Cancer? What's a question that Cancer needs to focus on in light of this reading that would be guiding them in the right direction, that would serve them in the highest? What kind of release would protect clarity in my space? The card is clear. What kind of release would protect clarity in my space? This is an important question. What kind of release do you need here so that you can be clear about where you're going next and what's in the highest alignment for you, which is what that soulmate card is sort of asking, right? Is what kind of release do you need in order to be clear about what you're doing moving forward or where you're going? This idea of the Judgment card trying to show you this sort of realization about yourself. How can you make space for that in your mind? What do you need to release to make space for that realization in your mind? You know, it's really interesting. Again, that soulmate card points to the idea of personal growth and harmonious partnerships You know, and again, it's not a romantic necessarily. It doesn't have to be romantic necessarily. But what it is this next level of consciousness that's very authentic, and it guides you in a sense where your greatest gifts lie. It's guiding you towards those great gifts. So what kind of release do you need right now so that you can protect that clarity in your mind, so that you can move forward towards that message coming from the Page of Swords, this truth, this realization? So much food for thought in this reading for you, Cancer. I'm going to leave it at that. And oh, I just felt guided to look at the bottom of the deck and look. It says, what reminds me that I'm free? You're free. You're free from so much of this stuff, Cancer. What would it take to remind you that you're free? And what kind of release would protect the clarity that you need right now in your mind space? Oh, very, very interesting reading. Oh, we forgot one deck. Sorry, I'm not going to close it just yet. I just looked over and I forgot the surrender deck. Let's see what you need to surrender or surrender to close this reading. Can't believe I almost forgot. I was so captivated by your reading. Surrender to miracles. I love that. Be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. Cancer, I'm going to leave it at that. Fascinating reading. So much food for thought here. Okay, my friends. Oh, I'm looking forward to reading for you again already. Looking forward to see where this energy takes you. I'm sending you so much love and encouragement. Take care, my friends.